Ryan Garcia is hell-bent on landing a Pacquiao or Tank Davis fight, and seems like there's some serious miscommunications going on with this promotional team. Teofimo Lopez hands out reasons as to why he wouldn't fight the other up-and-coming talents just yet, and Tim Bradley, well, he makes some interesting points on Devin Haney. For this and much more boxing news to come from an unbiased point of view, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. With the formalities out of the way, let's hop right in. Links for the Fight Hype interviews will be posted in the description box. Make sure to check them out if you so please. So on this Fight Hype interview, Ryan Garcia let it be known that he wants the Tank Davis or Pacquiao fight regardless of the order, and has no interest in anything but those fights getting made. Although he respects both fighters and admits that either fighter could knock him out, he does claim that he could knock them out as well. He also made sure to announce that he wouldn't allow Oscar de la Hoya to quote-unquote lie on him, and let it be known that he was upset when he learned Oscar claimed Garcia was only putting on a show for clout and Instagram when he was mentioning the fights with Tank and Pacquiao. Ryan also claims that if the fights between Tank or Pacquiao don't happen, that it's not his fault, but more or less his team's. By that, he pretty much means Oscar de la Hoya. He also made it very clear that Golden Boy Promotions works for him, and that Oscar has already made his money, so he should essentially stop hating on him and let him make his own. He continued by stating that he is ready to fight the biggest names now, not in the future, and that he doesn't care to fight the Fortunas or Linareses because he isn't here for a prolonged career. He's ready for the tougher fights now. He said that he isn't here to build a fight for 3 years simply because it'd be considered bigger than it is now, generating more revenue, etc. But instead, he wants those fights now because he doesn't want a long career in the sport. Here's the thing though, after listening to his interview, one thing truly sticks out. Garcia seems ready to exit the sport here shortly, which is very good for him. I'm sure he's riddled with goals and aspirations that may not even contain the slightest trace of boxing in it, but that may not be the case for the other potential names he wants to face off against. But what if Tank would rather the fight build up? What if Pacquiao feels the same way as Tank, or prefers to not even take Garcia because of the difference in ring experience and whatnot? Just because you as an individual want things in a specific way, or want to dive into the sport and get the heck out as soon as possible, doesn't mean everyone else will follow your lead or even wants the same for themselves, and that's where the situation gets difficult. I'm not against those two fights Ryan wants most, nor am I disagreeing with his statement in regards to the promoters working for the boxers and not the other way around. Hell, I even stated that myself in a past video. However, being realistic here, a fighter is an investment for the promoters as well, and regardless of Garcia's get in and get the heck out ASAP plans, I can almost guarantee you that neither Haney nor Lopez, Davis, or hell his own promoter shares that same mental state. So although Garcia may not want any other name as of right now, I think he should seriously consider the Linareses and Fortunas of the boxing world, because neither of the fights he wants most seem to be carrying much weight as of right now. In other news, Teofimo Lopez has also made some brash comments as of late, especially in his interview during the ESPN Top Rank card between Comey and Marinas, where he went on to state the following about the other young talents at 135. He said, and I quote, "They're famous on the internet. I'm real life famous. They got to get their weight up. They're not on my level yet." Devin Haney has fought half of his career in Mexico. He's been fighting cab drivers. Tank Davis, he's been fighting 122, 126 pounders. Next, what's next? Here's the thing. Yes, Teofimo by far has a serious case for having the best resume at the division. He is most definitely the most proven amongst his contemporaries. However, that does not justify him shrugging them off. If that mentality was utilized by the established, well, pretty soon no one would get the shot at proving themselves at all. Sure, Haney and Ryan may potentially be more renowned on social media for their flashiness, viral videos, etc., but it'd be foolish not to acknowledge their abilities in the ring. Sure, Tank is fighting a bunch of smaller fighters and making highlight reels out of them, but that does not take away from the fact that Tank would pose as a serious challenge to any fighter from 130 to 135, because although he is fighting lesser or smaller opponents, he obliterates them accordingly, and he doesn't play with his food. He does what he has to do. Period. So although I'm a huge fan of Lopez, I'm not alone in believing that the world would be much more interested in a fight between himself and Haney rather than Kambosos Jr. And that's no disrespect to the Aussie fighter. He is talented himself, but he doesn't possess the factors Haney and the other two highly touted potential Lopez opponents So yes, Lopez is the most proven, but he needs to give the rest of the young, unproven talents their fair shot, just like Lomachenko gave him his, and that's just my point of view on this entire ordeal. Lastly, Timothy Bradley also made a seriously bold statement in regard to Devin Haney, and claims he doesn't possess an identity. He said that between all his trainers switching, his father now leaving his corner, who or what's next for him? He also questioned whether or not Haney has grown over the past few years, and although he acknowledges his confidence having developed as of late, he doesn't believe his skills or in-ring talents have done the same. Bradley thinks Haney has looked the same in his performances and pointed out that Gamboa, whom was coming off a loss and injury, shouldn't have made it the full 12 rounds with Haney, and Devin should have gotten rid of him during the course of the fight. He also let the rest of the young talents in on some advice and told them to stop calling each other out, that they're better off building themselves up now, and made an interesting point. They aren't even in their primes just yet. They are trying to rush into fights right this moment without the proper development in place. So if you guys haven't checked out that interview, make sure you do it. I did agree with a lot of the things he had to say. He also made sure to let his thoughts be known in regard to which fight he would like to see Haney in next, and that so happens to be against Vasily Lomachenko. And honestly, after having thought about it myself, why not? Wouldn't that be a fantastic barometer and a serious achievement if he is able to beat an incredibly talented Lomachenko? He wouldn't only match Teo's biggest accomplishment, but say he does beat Loma in a more impressive fashion. He would also certify his status atop of the division. Unfortunately for us fans, there seems to be a lot more back and forth bickering amongst these young talents on their social medias rather than in the ring itself. Either way, ladies and gents, let me know what y'all think. Is Garcia's heart even in the sport of boxing? Is his best course of action simply to get in with the biggest names available now and get out as soon as possible and just call it a day in the sport? Is Teofimo's career looking shaky because of his own comments and decisions, or do you agree with his assessment on the other talents and would like for them to prove themselves first in order to build up a fight against Teo in the long run? Lastly, what is Devin Haney's identity, and would you like to see Haney face off against Lomachenko, or do you prefer Haney to go a different route and face other names in the division with much more favorable winning possibilities? Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you've already done those favors, thank you very much. I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate your support. Like always, this is Shay at Kingry Boxing, signing out.